Go.
Go. So thank you so much for coming to chat with me. Ever since Nick a few days ago said that you responded, I've been so happy. And I'll just kind of reiterate what we were talking a little bit earlier. Your music and your art and your images came into my life when I was young, and I was sort of a beaten down little gay boy, small town gay boy. And I didn't have very much confidence yet. And your music was sort of became the soundtrack of, you know, my kind of adolescence. And I would skip gym class because I would get beaten up all the time in the locker rooms and things like that for being just fabulous. And I was fabulous.
Being a screaming queen.
Being a screaming queen. And I would skip gym class and go to the library where they had my little cassette tapes, and I could just sit and listen to my headphones, and I would listen to pretty much only Dead or Alive. And over and over and over again, and of course, Sophisticated Boom Boom and Youthquake, right from the start, was just everything. Far Too Hard is my...
How did you find them?
My friend, a girlfriend of mine, had been going to the clubs, and she was like, oh, you would really like this band, and she was cool, and so I was like, oh, I'll listen to what she listens to, and Far Too Hard, hands down, my favorite song.
Really?
My
I like
favorite,
that one.
the most beautiful song ever.
I like that one, but as a writer then, I was just kind of... I had a producer called Zoe Beheld who just let me do whatever I wanted to do, and the mistakes are all glaringly there because I was just learning to craft a song. So as structured songs, there's pretty much not that much on the Sophisticated Boom Boom album other than What I Want, Misty Circles, Far Too Hard. They're the only kind of, you know, structured songs. And I always thought after that I could do better. And then obviously I took a 2-year break because only the worst thing on it, which was a cover of That's the Way I Like It, that was just, no one asked me to do it, I just was playing around the studio, and that got to be a hit. And I was flown over to America, nightmare scenario that's, you know, it's in the past so it doesn't really matter, but I was warned, you know, you gotta say you got a wife, you're not gay, Boy George is straight, remember that. You're not gonna sell a record by the press lady. So that of course, you know, put my nose out of joint. I didn't go back until about 1987. I didn't go back for 4 years. But anyway, I heard records by Divine, You Think You're a Man, and another one by Hazeldean, and I thought that's the production I want. And I went to the record company and said I want to work with Stock Aitken Waterman, who were completely unknown then. And my A&R person went with, so they're not producers and he wouldn't finance it, so I got a bank loan to finance the recording of the second album and Spin Me and everything like that. And I still thought I could do better, and then I reached a pinnacle with a record called Come Home, which was a #1 dance record in America for a very long time, but the record company refused to commercially release it because I had male dancers in the video and none of the people going out on the road would handle it at all, so that fucked me.
Well, what was so wonderfully accessible about you to me was that, unlike anyone else, you were using the right pronouns. You were using, all I know, he said to me. Mm-hmm. You were using the right pronouns. And I was like, oh my God, someone's actually using the right pronouns here. And I don't have to imagine or, you know, transpose or like whatever. And so that all came into my life and kind of carried me through. And your soul, the music that came from your soul was just always resonating in me.
I think it's really lovely, and I'm becoming more and more aware now, Madragosaurus, that those records have affected people profoundly, but I really don't have a clue how they heard them or found them because the record company never really promoted me in any way. I've never had full page ads, I've never had a billboard, I've never had those things. We were always the best kept secret because I just made them, even on 1 or 2 meetings, 2 would be the maximum that I've really met anyone from the companies that I've been involved with, and they were never allowed in the studio. They were delivered a product and that was it. Even on 1 or 2 meetings, I made them incredibly uncomfortable because I was under the illusion that there were certain jobs or careers where you were allowed artistic freedom. And I pretty quickly realised that you're really not in the music industry. After Spin Me, which I dreaded getting to #1 because I thought we're going to go but down now, and it wasn't my best thing. I knew that everything they ever looked at, they'd want another Spin Me, but that it wasn't going to happen. And it's like Andy Warhol with his Marilyn. While he was alive, all anyone wanted was the Marilyn.
Yeah.
It's all about repetition, like people who work in Selfridges, you do the same thing every day. And I just can't do that. I've tried it and I've had nervous breakdowns over it. I just can't knuckle under.
Right on. I just it. And
no, it's not right on. It makes things very difficult for me. And it makes things very difficult for the family that I support, because sometimes money's not coming in because I just won't take things, and I can see them all sitting in the wings saying, oh please just do this, and if it doesn't feel right I won't do it. If I arrive, it's not being a diva. I'd rather be hated for being me than liked for being somebody else. You know what I mean? If I go along to something, it doesn't feel right, I've got no problem with saying this doesn't kind of feel right, I'm going to go now because I won't give you my best.
See, that seems like confidence to me, and you were saying, it wasn't confidence that propelled you to
forward. What would I be? I'm going to ask you a question. What would I be confident about?
Everything, your entire being, your art, your voice.
I'm confident about my decisions. I'm not confident about. I'm not confident. I've lost the thread. I'm confident about my decisions. If something doesn't feel right, I don't care about it, and I'll just leave politely these days. But I'm not confident in what the end result could be if I'll ever get anything else. I think, fuck, I've really fucked it there, but then I just forget it and go shopping.
So the important thing is to do what you do because you love it, and you said it was accidental, your success. And
completely accidental, but love it. I'm not... Things like this I really love doing, talking, using my personality and things like that. I do love doing them, but I'll only do a few. Performing the same thing night after night, that's just too much. I have great admiration for, artists that can go on 60-day tours and do the same thing every night with some enthusiasm. And to digress, Tina Turner, she sings Nutbush City Limits like it's the fucking first time. I'd lie on the floor and scream. I couldn't do it.
If you had to sing Spin Me every night.
Yeah, I've done it, and I thought I'd go mad. And I don't have the cushion of drink or drugs, because I don't drink and I don't do drugs. Drink doesn't agree with me, neither do drugs. They simply don't work. So I'm doing it raw, on the repetition, I'm not numb to it, and I just fucking can't stand it. It makes me physically ill.
Yeah. And you said, you talked about walking away from your job, and I kind of walked away from doing music videos when the money went out of the market. I just kind of became disenchanted with the whole thing, because I would work so hard and I worked so hard to get to that place, and then the money kind of went away, and I used to do it because I loved it. Then I got sucked into the money, the greed, because then you're like, oh well, I'm gonna collect videos, and I'm gonna collect Madonna videos, and I'm gonna collect these experiences, and I'm gonna wear them in some sort of jewel crown, and then the bottom dropped out, and it was like, well, how much do I really love this anymore? Because I did it, I got to this sort of pinnacle, and one by one, I could check off my list, and actually you were the one person that I never thought I would meet, because I was like, well, they're not really doing that many videos, and when they do them, they do them in London, and I never get to go there and edit, and I'm never really going to run into him. We're not in the same circles, and I was able to meet one at a time. I met Boy George first with Paul Starr, the makeup artist in LA, childhood idol of mine. I had like 7 people on my wall as a kid, and you were one of them. So it was Boy George, and then it was Morrissey, and I did a video with him, and that was amazing. And then Madonna, and then George Michael, Janet Jackson, Michael Jackson.
Okay, these are all you film, yeah.
Yeah. And so you saw my film. I showed you my film, and it's just interesting that now at another turning point in my life, debating whether or not to make my film, which you saw public.
We think you'd be absolutely insane not to.
Oh, thank you.
I think it needs to be seen. You just hung it all out there.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone's really, willing to do that these days. They're afraid of something, but in a way you got nothing to lose, so hang it all out there.
Yeah.
And that's the position I feel in now. I've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So I can say what I want.
Yeah. And it's funny that the only way that I could have, because I've had your music and I've had this kind of inspiration carrying me through, and now that I'm older and I'm a bit jaded and I've kind of met people and have done the whole thing, I think the only thing that could have saved me right now and turned me around is this sort of inner connection, and being able to meet you in person. Like, very few things kind of jazz me and keep me on the edge of my seat. And from the second Nick told me that you're going to do it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm very,
You caught me in a good patch, because I'm enjoying what I'm doing at the moment, so I'll do it until I don't enjoy it anymore. And believe me, if this had been maybe a tabloid newspaper, even for money, I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like doing those kind of things. I've done a lot of trash lately just for the experience, and I think, okay, I've tried it, never again.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, I'm afraid of going back to a successful music career. I mean, I don't want a big album. I'd like a hit single or a dance single. I don't want a big album because then that entails a tour, and I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I've already shot myself in the foot by saying that. Another single, that'd be great.
Cut the bit out.
No, that'd be great. I'd do a single, but I don't want to write one.
Yeah.
I've written all I can write. I don't want to write one. I'd like someone to write it for me or with me, produce it. I'll go and do the vocal like all these other artists do, and I'll just fuck off and go shopping. You know, I don't want to be as involved as I used to be because, you know, particularly in the case of Come Home With Me, Baby, I mean, that really was all me and Steve Coy editing that together and producing it, because the band had split, and I thought, this is it, this is going to really go places, and then I can just disappear. And it didn't go to the places that everyone said it should, so I got a bit bitter about that and thought, well, that's kind of the best I can do, and if that's the best I can do and no one wants it, I'm not going to try anymore, really.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you did what you did, because Big Daddy of the Rhythm was the soundtrack that I used for my first, which isn't in the film, which is in another version of the film, and I'm kind of hybriding them together. My college application, I had to do a video, and so I gathered all my girlfriends up, and we shot a music video to come to Big Daddy of the Rhythm, which was my favorite song off of You Quit.
And it's funny you mention that, because the things that you find out with people, like my civil partner at the moment, he confessed to me about 3 years ago that his last art school project was directing a video of Spin Me, dressed up with someone dressed up in a purple dress again. Oh, fuck, it's weird the way, you know, things bring you together. Yeah. Really. Yeah. And then he never admitted that.
Yeah. Oh, how long have you been with your partner?
Too long.
Too long.
Yeah.
Cute.
No, I'm not being sarcastic. I mean, you know, I've got a lot of. I'll probably choose the wrong word because I haven't thought about it or read anything about it, but I got a lot of personal issues to solve, and I'm kind of sure at the moment I didn't really get into the right thing, and it's not his fault because he's perfectly nice, but I mean, you know, even through seeing therapists and stuff like that, I'm an alpha male regardless of everything else. Aren't I an alpha male? Absolutely an alpha male. And I've just found in relationships sometimes, even though he's the bottom, he talks to me like a silly girl, and I've put up with it for years, and I even got a tranquilizer habit because of it, because I think I want to fucking kill him, but I just go, yeah. And then I just thought, I'm not doing this to myself anymore, and gradually, over the last 3 years, I just thought, well, you know, I'm not so sure it's actually 100% right. I mean, I can't say it isn't. I'm not sure I need time to think. I can't compromise for anyone. I'd rather be alone and be myself. You know, I'm not relationship material. That I do accept.
It was my last relationship. It wasn't until it ended that I realized I was even in something like that had a beginning and a middle, and I never even paid attention to that. And that's all I'm capable of. And I realized, I was like, oh, that's the relationship I'm capable of having, is one that is not spoken. There's people like, oh, show us a picture. I have no pictures of the two of us, and we were together for 9 years, and I wasn't with anyone else, and I don't have any pictures. I don't publicize it on Facebook, and it's not part of my art, and it's not something I ever thought, well, I'm going to exploit this, or I'm going to show people that I'm in love, and I'm, you know, going around the world with my boyfriend, and it never kind of actualized. And it wasn't until it actually ended for real that I realized that it was real. And it's very.
And did you miss it?
I did in retrospect, and I, you know, I'm. It made me realize how important it is to stay in the now. I'm proud of myself for staying in the now. There's so much.
How long was that for?
Like 9 years.
Fuck me, mine's 8.
Yeah. So, but mine is like it was very amorphous. I don't know what the right word is. It just kind of went along. We started dating, and he was closeted still and needed to date women still. And I'm like, okay, well, then this is not anything that I'm interested in for real. It's just going to be a casual trick. But he kept coming back. Mm-hmm. And 4 years later, 5 years later, 6 years later, I'm like, kind of. But I never even admitted to myself. I'm always looking for something better, and knowing that he would find something better, needed to go and fuck a whole bunch of people. I'm the bottom and he's the top, and I am an alpha male. And it's hard to be at all, I think, effeminate or a bottom or anything and be considered an alpha male and being a dominant bottom.
Completely throws them.
Yeah, they just don't know how to process it. And it took a while for me to come into my own and understand, like, no, I can still be an alpha male and be submissive and be a bottom or be effeminate.
Well, I see a great therapist, the only one I've ever found that's good and stuff like that, and I'm actually I kind of know, but I'm not going to accept the answer. I can't say that I'm gay, I can't say that I'm straight, I can't say that I'm bisexual, I'm just not into it. No. And obviously, I married that old bitch over there when I was like 17, and she was the best boyfriend I ever had. But it wasn't an intensely sexual relationship. That died after about 3 weeks because I wasn't into sex, and everyone said, you've got to get a boyfriend, you've got to get a boyfriend. 27 years later, I find a boyfriend, I think, well, I should be enjoying this, and I'm just kind of not. It doesn't. I've never looked at a guy and thought, whoa, never.
Wow.
But I've thought that I should, and I've hung around a lot of people that did it, and I've gone, oh yeah. But now that I'm finding, the absolute truth of me, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with me. Some people are just like that,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's a case of, knowing someone like Morrissey personally in the 80s, who at the time was celibate. He was incredibly frustrated about that. That was not something he wanted to be. But I can't even say I can take it or leave it, because I'm simply not interested. And before I met Michael, my civil partner, I'd kind of come to the decision, because Lynn wanted to go her own way, I wanted to go my own way. It wasn't an acrimonious divorce. I'd kind of come to the conclusion that if I wanted to be truly myself and express myself in the limited areas that I choose to, that I am really a loner, and it'd be better for everyone involved, including myself, to do so alone, because I never get lonely.
Yeah.
In fact, I feel interrupted by company often.
I spend a lot of time alone, obviously editing, in my room and stuff, but I would spend a huge amount of time alone, and never had a problem with it until kind of almost recently, and kind of poked my head up and was like, oh, wait a minute, my life is going by. I should, and I'm seeing on this Facebook, and I know you're saying earlier.
I don't even know what it is.
Doesn't even know. He doesn't know how much he trends on Twitter, you guys. It's crazy. It's type in Pete Burns and watch it update. It's crazy. Like, constantly people are talking about you, and which is great that you don't pay attention to it. I'm going to take a lesson. But
maybe it's good for you.
No, I don't think it is good, because it made me uncomfortable with spending time alone. When I would go on Facebook and I see pictures of all the gay couples that I know, happy and love, traveling the world, first class, and just sort of in your face, and it made me feel lonely for the first time. Instead of being confident being alone, I became lonely.
I guess, because I hung around with a lot of artistic gay people and stuff like that, and they all wanted boyfriends or girlfriends and stuff like that, and we go out together, go, oh, look at him, and if I was like, oh, look at him, but I used to think, fucking hell, don't talk to me. And then I made a huge error, and I'm not doing this in a nasty way, because it's something that'll be discussed. I made an error, and for 3 years I knuckled down and thought that's what I wanted, and then for the last 5 years I've been thinking, maybe it's not what I want, and I've kind of come to the decision that it's not his fault, but it's not for me, you know what I mean? And if he does roll over in bed, I think, oh, fuck off, and I've got a headache. It's just not. My doctor says to me, lie back and think of England, and I even tried that, and I couldn't even think of England. I just thought, I want to get out of this fucking bed, and it's not that I'm frigid, I've done it all.
Yeah.
And I would never say something wasn't for me unless I'd actually done it. I've done every drug there is in the 80s. Didn't work.
Yeah.
Cocaine made me go to sleep. Speed put me to sleep. Heroin made me hyperactive. Acid didn't make me trip. The only drug that I did like, that I did in a particularly bad time, probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I ended up being sectioned into a mental hospital, but I felt so great, was what somebody gave me in a glass, and I said, what's in that glass? And it was orange. He said, a good time. So, I wanted to be corrupted, and I drank it, and I had never felt so good in my life. It was MDMA, do you know what that is?
Yeah, of course.
I had never, everyone else was crashed out. I was hyperactive, laughing, talking, joking, and I looked so healthy, and that wasn't delusional. It brought a glow to my skin, my eyes went ultra white, and I thought, and then didn't get a come down, got no after effect. Didn't want to read about it, wasn't going to know about it, thought this is fantastic, got some more, took it, and in the end someone offered to sell me 10 grams for a cut down price, and I bought the 10 grams, and I was putting it in the fruit shake in the morning, and going on with my day as normal. Nobody fucking knew. Nobody knew I was off my tits, I wasn't sweating, I was lucid, I was in the moment, but then gradually my life began to unravel. Like, checks had bounced and things like that, and I ended up getting death threats and calling the police. I didn't know what was going on because I'd stopped doing it. There was this horror waiting for me, and in the end I just ended up I ate a piece of marijuana to take it all away, and I ended up tripping thinking I was in Gorillas in the Mist, and ended up in a mental institution section for 2 weeks until the drug was out of my system. They didn't really know what it was. you know,
Right.
and I wasn't willing to talk about it, but I knew what I'd done, and thank God they put me in there, because my initial answer to it was buy some more until I crashed, because I'm incredibly courageous on things like that. It did make me feel great, but I wouldn't touch it again, because I know the consequences, because a little touch of that, and I want it every fucking day.
Yeah, the first time I did ecstasy was the best. That was amazing. And then you saw in my film, I got into the crystal thing a little bit in college, and like went down to 130 pounds. Like I was like Peter Murphy. It was crazy. I was like, oh my God, like how did I get here? And it was a boy, my first love of my life, turned me onto it. His brother dealt it, and I was like, sure, I'll go down this path, because that's what we're gonna do. And he broke my heart, and I had to go home, and my dad kept me home for 9 months and wouldn't let me go back to California. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do it anymore. And so luckily I didn't fall into that, and I did it young enough so that you can recover it.
You get out of your system, yeah.
Yeah, it's very scary. When I did go to Palm Springs finally, I would later on sabbatical, I kind of, after the record label crash, and I kind of was exhausted and over it and just needed a break, I moved away to the desert for 2.5 years. And there was a month where I rented, I don't know if you know Remington Steele, this American TV show with Pierce Brosnan. Anyway, it's a detective show, and I bought the box set.
I don't watch TV either.
Oh, see, I do the DVD thing, but I don't have TV in my home. I haven't had cable since I was 17 at my parents' house, but because it's noise, it's just noise to me. But for some reason, I had to go away. I blew up to 306 pounds. I needed to do that. I needed to go away and eat. And 1 month, I remember I paid my rent for a year, because I was living in this cheap little place in the middle of the porno district, and there was all this partying going on around me, but I didn't need to partake in any of it because I was in the center of it, and just sat there eating my bonbons.
I've got to cut you off there. Yeah. That's why I like living in London, because it's all going on, and I'm in the center of it, and I don't need to join in.
Yeah,
that's why I like big cities.
Yeah, you don't feel like you have to.
I can't believe we got that in common. Yeah. I could live in the middle of Soho, not that I want to go out into the clubs, but just because it's all going on around me, and I can sit looking out the window, and that's absolutely enough for me.
Yeah, you could at any.
Sorry to interrupt you. That was a bell of something really in common.
Yeah, you could at any moment to partake, but you don't. So no, I went away, and I remember for one section of it, for 30 days, I would wake up and watch this program and literally only eat Reese's peanut butter cups all day and go to bed and wake up. It's so good. We have that in common too. That's my favorite treat. And so, but
I buy a pack, bite one, and throw the rest out the window.
I've done that too. Since then, because I have to. But yeah, it's really amazing. Just feeling your energy for real in person, like after all this time of having you echoing in my brain. And
well, it's not always like this. I'm going through a really good patch. I have at least 3 personalities. One of them's really nasty, one of them's really lazy, and the other one's really positive and bright, and they've all got names. And I go with whoever is there, at the time, whatever I'm feeling at the time, and I did used to say wittily, I've done everything, been everywhere, worn everything. It's time that I die, because I've read everything as well. There doesn't seem to be anything new, but I'm enjoying different, simpler things now. I don't really, I've been through heavy and drama and all that shit. I will not let that in. I just will not let it in. And to be honest with you, and this is not an insult, it's just the way I speak, I found a lot of your film so upsetting that I almost wanted to turn it off, but I stayed with it, and it was really, really good. But this is a time in my life where I don't really want to see violence and aggression and things like that. I know it goes on, but luckily it's something my partner has always said, I live in a bubble, and that's my protection. I do have a kind of bubble around my mentality. I know exactly what's going on, and I don't miss a fucking trick, but I just don't let it in unless it's relevant or it can affect me in any direct way, because I don't think I can't change the world. I can't do anything political. I can't find a cure for HIV. I'm just one person alone doing my thing, so I create a bubble, and people think, oh, he lives in a dream world. Well, I kind of do if people ask me what I do, I read a lot and I daydream a lot as well about really simple, ordinary things. One of my biggest nightmares is end up living in the countryside. I would rather die than live in the countryside. If I see a green thing, I freak, can't stand it.
Kill it.
Yeah, kill it. I can't fucking bear it. I just want concrete, grey, neon, things like that, but I don't want to be out in it. I just want to be in the centre of it, And I've done a lot of interviews, particularly in the 80s, where I just lied through my teeth or just said something for the sake of it, because I never realised the importance of what you actually said, that it could affect your record sales. And you know what? If they'd have told me that, I wouldn't have given a shit anyway. and I still said what I felt on the day. And I used to like to wind people up because I'm quite antagonistic, and I will do things to wind people up to amuse myself to see them freak out. And you know, that's kind of just me, but I'm not always antagonistic. I would say that at the moment in my life, I'd say for the past 10 or 11 months, that I've been at a very, you know, peaceful and stable place. Sure, I get shit days, but they're not as shit as, you know, most people's shit days. I just don't feel like going out or talking to anyone, but the next day I just bounce back.
Right on. I came to a point recently where the good things in my life, the blessings that were coming along, actually became painful.
Why?
Because, well, it was inconsistent. It was inconsistent for me. It was inconsistent with how I wanted life. You were talking about, well, suicidal thoughts and different things like that. For me, being, you know, without my sister, having lost my sister to cancer.
Sorry.
Yeah, and you saw that. And thanks. And just sort of feeling alone in the world, and feeling single instead of being confident being alone, I started to feel lonely. And
she's like your other half, really, half of
yeah,
you.
she was like, I'm half of the person that I once was. My spirit, my zest for life and living. And so it kind of went down. So very few things excite me. So meeting you is the first thing to come along to excite me to a point where this good thing didn't hurt me. Good things started hurting me. Like I was like, I just don't want the good. I want everything to be bad so that I know that life fucked me over, that I can check out and you know, like, so that.
But then you invited in.
I know, and you said yes, and I for the first time in a very long time, that yes and meeting you actually didn't hurt.
Weird things happen, you know, like for instance, about a couple of months ago, my bank account was drained, but I wrote a check in my dry cleaners. I owe about 600 quid, and I could have paid it 1,000 times, but I've just avoided paying his bill. And the other day, she said, you know, you got to pay that dry cleaner. 30 seconds later, he fucking rung her phone and my phone. We invited it in. Of course I'll pay him when I can be bothered to walk down the fucking road and give him the money.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
He knows I'm good for it, but I've just been too busy doing other things. But as soon as we mentioned him, which is someone I'm avoiding at the moment because I'm concentrating on good things, he fucking rang, didn't he?
Cool. Yeah.
So you're inviting it in. It's the last person I wanted to hear from. So I have developed blinkers. If I don't want it to happen, I don't even think about it. And I spend a lot of time with Lynn because we're absolutely soulmates. And she, like your sister, is my other half. Totally. She gets me. She lets me be. But occasionally she goes, why don't you? And I fuck off. We have really good fights, don't we? But they're never nasty. They're never nasty.
Sweet.
She's like a mum, you know, but she's also like a sister.
Aww.
And I certainly couldn't function in life without her. She's been on every gig with me, every journey with me. She was the one who believed in me, told me what I do, and, you know, put so much of herself into me. And then everyone says to me, we divorced and went our own way. And everyone says to me, you need a boyfriend. I was like, eeny, miny, mo, which is the best one going? And I chose this really nice guy in a restaurant. I thought, he's nice. Then I gave him my number, and 30 seconds later he called me, and then it just kind of snowballed from there. And I was really excited, thinking, this must be what I want. And now suddenly, I started making records and things like that in 1976. That was my first recording in 1976. So I kind of been around a long time. And image-wise, I've had more changes than even Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
More than Madonna, more than anyone.
Yeah. And he's telling me what I should do, and this, that, and the other. I need to quicken myself, and then quicken myself. I'm not in a fucking race with anyone. It's like, who the fuck are you? You're a waiter. What would you know? You know, so it doesn't work for me really, because I've been polite and gone, okay, yeah, maybe, and done things, and I'm not happy with them. So now I've gone to I've gone to the other extreme, a complete rebellion, where anything I don't want to do, not just regarding Michael, anything I don't want to do, I absolutely won't do. Certain TV shows, won't watch them, just because they're okay. They're not good enough, so I don't want to see them. Like the X Factor. Yeah. Everyone talks about the X Factor. Yeah. I started to watch about maybe 6 episodes a couple of months ago, and then suddenly thought, what the fuck am I watching this for? Caring about these dweebs.
Yeah.
They were just karaoke machines.
Yes.
They'll never get anywhere, just because they can sing, and they don't sing good enough. Why am I looking at it? So I'll turn it off. And about the heaviest news that I can bear is E-Channel. E-News. Yeah. That's the heaviest thing I can bear, because I'm powerless to affect anything else, particularly at my age and at the status of my career. I can't use my muscle in the way that someone like Madonna could do. You know, she could really implement changes in education, and largely I'm led to believe that she has in many ways, but I don't have that power, and I'm not going to be a tiny little moth fluttering around a huge light bulb with a voice that no one wants to hear. My personal politics are just living as me, being myself. I hope to live a very long life, and it's quite evident that I will, unfortunately. But if
that's what I'm talking about. I feel that way too.
Such a thing as reincarnation, I'll come down the birth canal and go, oh, fuck this, not again. And I want to make the most of this life, but it's not what other people might think is the most. It's leading a simple existence, answering only to myself, not getting the greed.
Yeah.
You know.
I have, and speaking of simple existences, I have in my house a fork, a knife, a spoon, a glass,
Fabulous.
a bowl, a bed, a computer, a teddy bear, my Aveda products, and that's it.
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. My partner is an absolute OCD clutterbug. I've got more soft furnishings, more dinner sets, more. And you know what? I'd be happy with a fucking paper cup and a paper plate because I can throw the motherfucker away at the end of it.
Yeah.
It's all too high maintenance for me.
Yeah. If I have one fork,
that sounds absolutely fabulous.
Yeah. If I need to use that fork, I need to wash it, and that's it.
That
and
is
everything's just
genius.
Yeah.
Hello, pleased to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
That's all right. Because I have one apartment. It has 3 bedrooms and 2 reception rooms. I need those rooms because the storage of my clothes and things that I've collected over 30 years. But really, I had a 10-bedroom house in Notting Hill Gate, 6 stories, and I thought, what am I going to do with the other fucking 9 rooms? And I just got rid of it.
Yeah.
I just don't want it. And people go, oh, you know, if you have another hit record, you can buy yourself a huge house in Hampstead. I don't want a fucking huge house in Hampstead. What would I do with it? I don't even have a car.
Yeah.
I don't want one.
Yeah. Well, I liked being condensing my life down to one DVD that I could send to you because it was, I thought, a bit of an unfair advantage because I knew about your art. I don't know you, and you were very private, but I knew your art, and this was my art, and some of my art anyway, some more personal revelations.
I'm not that familiar with my art because another thing I don't do is I don't own a DVD or a single record that I've ever made. Haha, I bet that surprised you. I don't
listen
own one.
to your own music?
I don't know. If I'm going to do a show, I'll learn them from a CD that someone compiles from, but I don't own one. I don't own one. I don't own one DVD or one album, and guess what? I never have. And I'm not being blasé.
Yeah.
And I know if this gets broadcast, there'll be 1,000 twittering cunts going, you know, oh my God, because I recently did an online interview and I outraged everyone with what they thought was my attitude, but I was only telling the truth. And no, I don't own one. No.
Wow.
Why should I want one? I've done it.
Yeah. Well, I like the ability to have, you know, my whole life in one kind of little capsule, and I stopped self-documenting. I no longer self-document. I wouldn't do it again. And actually, a fire burned most of my archives and most of my art.
I think that's a really good thing.
And it was a wonderful start. It was like I just
clean
slate, and I could just start over. But my DVD, I realized, especially recently explaining it to a friend, was after my sister died, and you know, like Lynn, she has a lot of memories of you, and she's seen everything that you've gone through and been through. And
yeah, those are documenters because they got the camera in the head.
Yeah, well, my camera, my sister, my hard drive of life, the one person that saw me, the one person that saw me suffer and go through all of that, and dancing around in my underwear to
Fabulous,
Brand New Lover, you know, and in the living room,
and then suddenly they're gone.
And then they're gone, and
shit.
So this DVD was some sort of like an attempt, I think, to put it all out there on one thing. Like I had my sister, I didn't have that anymore, so the whole world was going to have to store my life.
But she said an amazing thing, like there are many doors in life, but ultimately we all go through the same door sooner or later, and I thought that is a wonderful thing to say, because we all end the same, and we start the same. We start alone and we kind of end alone.
Yeah, she was very smart that way. She was a philosophical person.
But it's funny the way these, I mean, as I say, I'm not very comfortable sitting and saying I'm gay. I'm not going to say I'm straight. I'm not going to say I'm bisexual. I'm not sitting on the fence. I think I'm nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just Pete. And I didn't see gender in Lynn, and I didn't see gender in Michael. I just liked the person. And the same with Lynn. So I don't fit very easily, and I've been through a lot of therapy about it, and you know, ultimately I've got a few more sessions to go. I think it's kind of the way it is, really. I'm going to be a kind of bitter old spinster, really, and I'm quite happy with that.
Sweet. I fell susceptible to the labels. Everyone called me faggot, everyone called me gay, so I figured I had to live up to that. And I did, as you saw, lose my virginity to a girl in bed, and I videotaped it. Yeah. And so, but I did it for, you know, maybe perhaps the wrong reasons. I think that I am gay, but I had to live up
Well, I go
away.
as far as I think you are, because you find men attractive in a certain type of man. I just don't.
Oh yeah, no, I do very much so, and I always have, and it's fine. But gay is one thing, faggot is quite another, and I had to I felt very young that I had to come up and live up to that, and if I was going to suffer all of this childhood for this label, that I was going to live that faggot life, and thus, Gaga,
define
define it and be the forefront. I mean, be a bodybuilder, do the self-image body crisis, do the steroids, do the clubs, do the drugs, do the thing. I mean, I just...
And I hope you had a fucking good time doing it.
I did. Yes, I did.
You got it out your system,
I did
you let your hair down, swung it round. I've done all that too, but I'm still... What works for me, really, being myself, answerable to no one, not being stuck in a corporate machine, and having what freedom I've got. I mean, I do walk around, and I walk around like this. This is not a costume. I'm not dressed up today. This is every day. If I dressed up, you'd fall over. But I'm not doing this to be attractive to anybody other than myself. And all my years going to gay clubs, because they're only the safest place, not once did a male person ever approach me. Not once, because the image was just a
lot.
And then when I got fame, a few kind of did approach me, because fame is an incredible aphrodisiac.
Seducer,
yeah. But I think he didn't want to fucking know me when I was no one. Fuck you. And I can't really walk around unbothered, and it's largely okay, because I've been doing an awful lot of mainstream TV lately, and I'm grateful they have me, because they let me swear, smoke, do what I like. I've got freedom there, and it's paid. I go to the TV studio at 8 at night, I film at 11, I'm finished at 1, I go home, get a nice check at the end of it. Fabulous, don't have to think about it.
I could relate to one of the things you said I think you're on Richard and Judy, talking about taking the stitches out on Big Brother or something,
stomach,
and that you needed the money. You're like, I didn't care, I needed the money, so I went and I did.
And it was a lot of money for
good for you.
For what I did.
Yeah.
And you know how long it lasted? 3 weeks. I spent like Barbara Hutton. I had a ball. I had a fucking ball, and then it went away. I didn't want to do it again. No, I was okay. My PRS checks alone would keep somebody in a very comfortable life. But unfortunately, in reality, I have desires mainly, and it's not about fashion. Vivienne Westwood's clothes, because they changed my life in 1976. I lost the job I had to set up a clothes shop. There was a punk club in Liverpool called Eric's that Lynn and I frequented, and we were so flamboyant in our rubber and leather and stuff that the owner said, "You never come in here again unless you form a band." And I was like, how the fuck do I form a band? Well, he formed a band for me. I did a gig, got a lot of press, and it kind of snowballed from there, and that was totally down to the magic of Vivienne Westwood clothes. My first Top of the Pops was That's the Way I Like It. After I appeared in a yellow kind of, it was called a Clint Eastwood leotard with a jockstrap on, my clothes were forever checked, or they wouldn't invite me back on Top of the Pops for 2 years. So I had to find other things to do, which was live work, and her clothes have taken me on a journey, but it's her that fascinates me. I consume Vivienne Westwood clothes, and only her clothes, probably in the same way as when you were a teenager, you consume Madonna's records. I want to know what makes her tick.
Yeah.
She fascinates me.
Oh, that's awesome. Have you ever met her?
I've met her on several occasions. She was absolutely vile, and I met her very recently, and she was just absolutely adorable and looking bewildered by all the brouhaha that was going on around her. And the one question that I really want to ask her, and I hope that one day I'm in the position to ask her, is not why, but how did she damp down? How did she let her other ranges like Anglomania and Red Label be designed by somebody else and just let it go and concentrate solely on a gold label? How did she go, yeah, there's sunglasses, okay, I'll put Vivienne Westwood. How did she do that? Because I don't think I could do that. I think maybe she's got the greed.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know if she's got the greed.
It's infectious, that greed, yeah.
I'd like to know. I have to know, because she's the last one standing for me. There was Quentin Crisp and her.
Yeah,
she's
amazing.
Absolutely the last one standing.
The Naked Civil Servant changed my life for sure.
Actually, when I was growing up, I must have been 14 or 15 when that was televised. Nobody in my village where I grew up knew what a queer was, and then suddenly that you weren't called queer, you were called Quentin, which was fine by me.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. It made an impact on me, and I kind of know bits about him and stuff like that, and I've read bits about him, but I kind of think you're reading things about someone after they're dead, you don't really know if they're true, it's pure conjecture and stuff like that, so... But I think he was, fab. from what I know of him and everything like that. Fab and a bitter old bastard from what I hear.
So you never met him? You could have probably very easily.
I did go to a signing years ago when he did a one-man show in Liverpool, and I went to a sign. I'd love to have met him, but I wouldn't want it to have intruded on his privacy. I know you could call him up and all that, because friends of mine did.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want it to intrude on his privacy, really.
That's sweet.
And then again, just like me, it might have been a crashing letdown, and then I'd have been disillusioned. So I like to hold the people that I kind of idolise at a distance, really, because even people that I didn't idolise, who had prominent success and stuff like that, they've always been to me a letdown and very careerist, and I just don't. Even Morrissey was very careerist. He could tell you how many airplays he'd had that week, and how many airplays I'd had that week, and how many units he sold. I was like, oh fucking hell, this is really not what I want over vegetarian dinner.
Yeah, no one's been a letdown, including you. So I've been really lucky that way. That I picked the right people. Maybe I have good taste. I don't know, but I like.
I say delusional. Lead me.
Anyway, what?
Lead me. I've dried up. I'm ranting on about things.
Well, I think that I just, more than anything, what I just wanted to say is thank you very much, and thank you for.
And I didn't say, oh shucks, it was nothing. You know,
well,
honestly, I really mean thank you, but you got to understand. I must have a cell missing. I just don't understand it. And when I was out in Japan playing to like 98,000 people in a fucking stadium, which I hated every minute of it because I'd rather do tiny clubs, which is always what I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I couldn't understand why all these people were there screaming my name. I don't know what behind me, what the fuck's there, you know. It's not that I'm modest, I just don't see why someone would think that I was, you know.
I don't know.
I know I'm different. I know
it's your energy, it's your voice, it's the words, it's all of it. Just
you know how long it used to take me to write a song?
How long?
Half an hour.
Oh my God.
I've never written a lyric down ever. I just go boom and it comes out.
See, you're channeling that shit. It just comes out.
And that's what my producer said. I was channeling. It would just come out like a limerick. So I wasn't thinking, okay, this is what's happened to me, and this is what I write about. Something would just come out. Something would just come out of my mouth very quickly. And the longest I've ever spent on a song was probably 2.5 hours because I wasn't satisfied with what I was doing. So I guess if I'd had to really graft at it, and people were saying it was great, then I would maybe think, okay, I deserve that, you know, because I really worked very hard on that. But because it came so easy and so organically, I don't really feel that I've really done anything. And one thing that I do know is I'm sure there are other people exactly like me. They walk amongst us. We can only tell them by their slightly pointy head and weird ears. But, you know, they walk amongst us. But I do know that I'm different, and I know that I'm unique. And that's not always the best place to be for someone, because it can be very lonely. But luckily, in the past couple of years, I kind of don't know what lonely is, because if you're okay in your own company, you're not lonely. It's outside pressures, like you were saying, looking at photos of couples and this, that, and the other. Oh, I should have that. I don't have that cell.
Right on.
I don't look at anything.
I'm going to get rid of that in mine.
Well, hon, it might not work for you. You shouldn't have to labour at it. It's come naturally to me. I didn't make a decision. I didn't make a decision that I'm going to do this and be this way.
It annihilates my serenity, though, to like the outside, if I like concentrate on how fast the world is going and how much there is and how, it's just overwhelming to me. If I'm just sitting in a room by myself, I can channel greatness. There are moments when I'm editing or making a piece where I'm very aware that I didn't.
There's movies, there's so much that you can see, and even just looking out the window, there's so much you can see. And one thing I've lost through, I don't like the word, but it's true, it's celebrity, is the ability to walk around, not invisibly, because I always look like this, but when I walked away from my career in 87, by 1990 and 1992, people would just go, you fucking freak. But then after Big Brother and stuff like that, they knew my name. So if you hear your name, Pete, you turn around and people are instantly familiar with you. So you're constantly interrupted. I just like to walk around completely anonymously. I'd have black lipstick on, a blue hat and maybe a long skirt. But people just thought I was a freak. And visibility of freaks does build tolerance. And I was visible in the daytime, not the nighttime. But once people got my name, then a bit of my privacy went. They're all very nice to me. The most unlikely people absolutely adore me, and that's really nice, and it makes life kind of safe for me. But I do find that my avenues are somewhat limited if I want to go uninterrupted, and that's the one thing that I kind of would like back. I would like that back. I'd like to be able to do my job, be called Elton as he's Reg Dwight. So people would shout, Elton, I could go, I'm not Elton, I'm Reg. Just ignore it, I wouldn't respond. That's the biggest mistake I ever made, using my own name in showbiz. I should have got a pseudonym, Because then I personally would be able to block it out. If they were calling for, Boadicea, or whatever I called myself, I wouldn't have responded because I'm Pete.
Yeah.
I'd sailed through it, but that's the one big error that I've actually made. But when you say that you're going to try those things, I really do hope that anything that I say to you or anyone else that watches this, it only works for me. I'm not saying for people to try it. I didn't think I'm never going to look at a computer. I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to do that. I just wasn't interested. I didn't make a conscious decision, and I've never, not once in my career or my life, a little bit of, the relationship, maybe starting a relationship, because I wanted to try it. But I've never made a conscious decision to be a certain way. It's been completely organic since I was a kid. I mean, I grew up as a kid, living in a teepee, wanting to be a Red Indian. What do you know? Look at me now. All my dreams came true, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, try it, but don't make it like you're training. If it comes naturally and you're better for it. But I certainly don't want anyone to think, oh God, I've got to be like Pete, because I don't.
Cute.
All right.
Right on.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're done. Thank you so much.
I really love that, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I've probably crucified myself for any career prospects.
No.
I'll go in, my husband will hit me with a fucking hammer.
And I would love to make a video with you. So if you do make more music,
I'd like to
you've
stay
got
in
a
touch
video
with you,
director.
but I don't do phone either.
That's
Lynn
okay.
does. Can Lynn get your number?
Yeah, sure.
How long are you in London for?
Yeah, till the 27th. Yeah.
When's that? I don't know what date it is.
Okay, a week from this Sunday.
Okay.
It's 8 weeks.
Lynn, get Lynn's number and she'll get yours, because she was saying we should take you out somewhere.
Right on. I would love to.
Numbers, exchange numbers, because I really don't do telephone.
Okay, cool, great.
It's kind of.
How about email? You don't have email? No.
No computer. No, get numbers.
One of us has to be in touch with the outside world.
Yeah. Awesome.
I do have a phone.
Would you prefer I give you mine?
Yeah.
Right, cool. Thanks. Bye.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Oh, it's fine. I really enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.